Now then everybody, Travis here again, and today we are going to take a look at why these are the best models that Games Workshop make right now. Roll the intro. So before I get all the hate comments again, which I'm starting to enjoy, by the way, so keep them coming. Before I get all the hate comments down below, yes, I know these aren't Games Workshop's usual quality, because obviously these are designed by Games Workshop and produced in China. I am fully aware of this, but this isn't the reason, or not the reason, why I think that these are some of the best models that Games Workshop make. The big thing with these is they are cheap. Number one, they are cheaper than the majority of the models, and they can be picked up even brand new from Games Workshop at a relatively low cost compared to other things. And you get a lot in a box for what you pay, which is a really good thing in my opinion. So whenever something cheap comes out, I'm a lot more warm into that, shall we say. Second of all is their use. They add a different dimension and flavour to the games of Warhammer that you're playing up. Age of Sigmar, let's do it properly. They add a lot of flavour to the Age of Sigmar games with different spells. They've all got different abilities and the way you use them. And I'm not 100% sure on this, but obviously I've just had a quick flick through the rules as I've done this as part of a commission that I've been working on for quite a while now, and it is an exceptionally large commission. And if any of you want to see the stuff that I'm working on, I will do some more videos on that because there is a lot to it and it's quite fun. I've got loads more that's just come through that I've picked up to get on with. This is a ridiculously large commission, by the way, like stupidly large. So there's going to be loads more stuff coming because of this commission that I'm doing. Anyway, but the main reason I think these are so good are because of how you can use them in other games and for other purposes other than what they're designed for within Age of Sigmar. And for instance, as far as what else you can use them for, they do make good terrain pieces. This is the Skull Gate, or Skull Bridge, or I don't know. It's made of bones and it's a bridge. I'm not 100% sure what it's actually used for because I'm not a big Age of Sigmar player. I paint a lot more than I play, which hopefully I'll be changing very soon. But as a terrain piece, there's something interesting on there to use both parts of this. It makes your board that little bit more interesting. So all of these things can be used in different terrain pieces to add just a bit of flavour to your board or your mat, whatever it is you're using. They're relatively cheap and you can just stick them on there and they look good in different games such as Kings of War and any other fantasy game that's out. I'm not a big game person, so I'm not 100% sure, but there is that option. The other one is using them for something like Dungeons and Dragons, and this is where I honestly think these will really shine because there are plenty of models out there to use for Dungeons and Dragons, but not as weird and as kooky as not a lot of them as weird and as kooky as this, like the Flaming Skull, the big fireball with teeth, which is honestly, it was an absolute joy to paint. The pyramids. There's so many things and way a dungeon master could use these to explain what's going on and had different points of interest throughout all your rooms and everything else. And there's such a variety. And there aren't just obviously the ones that I've done. There are more and more coming out each time. And this is something Games Workshop's really pushing for Age of Sigmar, which I think is fantastic. It adds extra dimension to that game and whatever you do. And honestly, they're just really good looking models. I know they're not the highest of qualities, but they are fun to paint. They are, when you buy a box of variety. So doing that, it's going to give you, getting to the end of that painting these two boxes was an absolute joy. And I felt really fulfilled and satisfied by doing this. It wasn't like painting 20 Marines, which sometimes can be absolutely soul destroying. The variety, even though there were a few that are repeated, like there's some chains, there's 3 of them. There are the pyramids, the black pyramids with the green highlighting. There's 2 sets of them. There's the like warp gates. Those alone, having those as an objective point to, you've got to get to one warp gate and you move to another. and having that in a dungeon crawler game would also work really well. And they're a good representation of things that everyone has come across in the fantasy realms of whatever it is you play. So honestly, I just genuinely am so impressed with these. And I know I'm a bit late to the party with these because they've been out a while, but I've been waiting to get round to doing these for this commission. I would recommend these for anyone who plays any fantasy game or Dungeons and Dragons, anything along those sorts of lines, RPGs, because they will just add that bit of flavour to your board, to your game, every time you play, and they make it a bit more interesting. And as for Dungeon Masters, keeping a set of these to keep all the players on their toes, give them a bit of visual incentive, it's great. And you can make the rules up for them as you go along. And if you're using them for Ages of Sigmar, they've all got their own individual rules. They are just very, very good. Thoroughly impressed with the entire thing. Hopefully I'll be doing a few more of the sets as I work through this commission. I know I've got loads more stuff to do. But yes, honestly, fantastic models. Obviously, like I said, not the highest quality, but a joy to paint. I did roughly 24 models in about a 48-hour period. Like painted and based, start to finish, done. And I didn't paint, I did paint till late at night because obviously, but I'll explain that in a later video. I've got something coming up to go through that and show you what it takes to be a commission painter and some of the sacrifices and how you've got to work around a lot of stuff. They were so fun to paint, it didn't feel like a chore painting a lot of models in a short space of time. So, if you're into anything Age of Sigmar or anything else, definitely check these out. Well, I think that's enough rambling for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all the usual stuff. Check out the links below for all the stuff featured in today's video. Merch that's down there as well. If you want to help the channel out, check that out, and that'd be great if you did. If you don't, then that's cool as well. And that's enough for today. I'll see you in the next one. Travis out. Peace.